So I'll bring the September meeting of the New York State Cemetery Board to order, and in deference to a meeting on Friday, we'll keep my opening remarks short, other than to thank everybody for attending. I'm Mark Pattison. I represent Walter Mosley, and I'm chairman of the board.
I'm Stephanie Schulman. I represent Dr. James McDonald, the Commissioner of Health.
Bill?
And I represent Attorney General Letitia James. I'm Jill Faber.
Great. So we have all in attendance, and we can move right into the meeting substance. First order of business is to approve the minutes. Are we approving one or two? Two sets of minutes. So I'll do that separately. Which one is first?
August 15th.
The August 15th minutes. Does anybody have any suggestions or corrections to the August 15th minutes as distributed? If not, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the August 15th board meeting. So a second. All in favor? Aye.
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 Minutes are approved. Second one is the minutes of the
August 26th.
August 26th meeting. Thank you. Does anybody have any corrections or changes to the August 26th minutes? Hearing none, I'll make a motion to approve the August 26th minutes of the board as distributed. A second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Minutes are approved. Second order of business, our council, esteemed council, Rob Vandenblis. Do you have anything to add to your report on legislation regulations?
No, so this month we did not circulate a legislative report. The legislature is not in session. In terms of regulations, I have no update on the regulations beyond what I shared last month. I do have one matter pertaining to recent legislation. The division and I are going to ask the board to direct us to issue a verified report to a crematory. We could either handle that now or at the end of the meeting.
What's your preference?
Let's do it at the end.
Okay. So we'll remind me of that before I adjourn. And so anybody have any questions of Rob? Other than guessing as to what we'll be doing? All right, thank you, Rob. Louis, do you have a division report?
Do I have a division report? Yeah, staffing update. So I think I reported that Alicia's now back to being assistant director. We have three vacancies that we are close to filling. One is a newly created associate accountant position in Binghamton. We've made a nomination and we're waiting for HR approval on that. The other two are an investigator position in Syracuse and a senior accountant position in New York City. On both of those, we believe we finished interviewing all of the candidates. I say believe because we use preferred qualifications to filter the candidates. So if everybody who we interview turns us down, we have more candidates we could interview. And we're in the process of checking references, and we'll hopefully have recommendations on both of those to HR very soon. There are a couple of other vacant positions. Kayvon Butler is effectively transferring to New York City, leaves a vacancy in Albany, and Alicia becoming assistant director leaves a vacancy in Albany for a senior and associate accountant respectively. And we are waiting for a canvas / solicitation of resumes on both of those positions. I think that's all the recruitment we have going. We have what are the dates that we had a 101 last night? Mike, I don't know if is Mike still on?
Yes.
Mike, I don't know if you want to say anything about last night's 101.
Michael was having audio issues. I don't know if he's
Okay.
resolved them yet.
Okay. All right, so yes, he won't. And when are the other two coming up, Nathan? Yeah, again,
They can be found on our website.
Yes.
I will.
all the dates are on our website. Let me give you the annual report statistics first, and I'll give you those dates. So to date, we received 1,374 annual reports since the year isn't quite over yet. This is all calendar year, by the way. Since the year isn't quite over yet, that's a little bit of an improvement in compliance with submitting annual reports. those aren't all delinquent. Some of them aren't even due yet. Some of them have extensions, of which 622 came in online, which represents a 45% rate of online submission, which is consistent with last year. You got the 101 dates?
Yep. We've got one on September 24th in Austin Forks, Sable Forks, and one on October 14th in Syracuse.
And probably done for the season after October 14th, but we're looking at the spring. Mike, are we saying anything about?
Sure.
You want to do it? Sure.
We, based on the success of the Cemetery 101 courses, we are going to do a step 2, which is similar, and it's everything you want to know. The title may change, but it's everything
I think it's everything you were dying to know about.
Mm-hmm.
we haven't settled on the title, but so a similar training about cemetery basics, but more geared towards the general public. So volunteerism opportunities, what cemeteries do, how they benefit the community, things like that. So we will be rolling that out in the next probably 6 weeks, 2 months, hopefully. Don't want to put a hard date on it, but the next step in the general education of the cemetery courses is for the general public, and we look forward to bringing that to New Yorkers.
So we have at least one potential venue lined up with multiple dates, actually, but it's mostly directed to you, I suppose, Dave. We're looking at any cemeteries that would have space to host such a thing, plus a quote-unquote mailing list that has the ability to reach like lay people. Because some of the larger cemeteries do have a substantial roster of people other than their own lot owners for which they have contact information, like the ones that do programs, basically, that do non-traditional cemetery programs. So we're looking at those as potential venues and elsewhere.
And Mike, you can introduce yourself.
Mike Morris, Assistant Deputy Secretary of State for the Office of Local Government, underneath Mark.
Thank you. Okay, anything else, Louis, from your division report?
It's just staffing, the annual report submissions, one-on-one, so.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. Does anybody else, any board members have questions of Louis? Okay, we move on to our vandalism fund requests. We have 5 requests, all.
Before that, I'll refer the board to the vandalism report that we circulated and ask if you have any
Thank you.
questions.
Thank you. Any questions? We have 5, applications for the vandalism fund, all dangerous monument applications. I'll begin with the application from Yorkshire Cemetery in Cattaraugus County in the amount of $24,366.15. Who's presenting?
Yes, this is Michael Katina, investigator for the Buffalo office. And I will be doing the Yorkshire. Just pull it up here. Here we go. The Yorkshire Cemetery is a rural cemetery in the town of Yorkshire, New York, which is located in Cattaraugus County. They submitted an application for repair of 24 hazardous monuments. I visited the cemetery and confirmed that all 24 monuments appeared to pose a hazard. The most recent monument was dated 1954, and the cemetery stated they do not have lot owner records for this period. They ran a legal notice once a week for 3 weeks in the Herald Carrier for $72.15 and received no response. It is the division's understanding that the cemetery has determined the lot owners cannot be located. The cemetery submitted 2 repair estimates, the lowest of which was from Western New York Cemetery Service for $24,294 to reset 24 monuments on concrete foundations of 42 inches and include a 20-year warranty. This is Yorkshire's first application for funds. They are up to date on their vandalism payments, and I recommend approval in the amount of $24,366.15.
Thank you, Michael. Council, do we have anything to add to the discussion?
No comments from council. Thank you, Mark.
Great. Questions for Michael? So I'll make a motion to approve the application from Yorkshire Cemetery in Cattaraugus County for $24,366.15, subject to the availability of funds. Do I have a second? My partner in crime. All in favor? Aye. If I asked for any other discussion, I guess I did. Okay, so the motion is approved, the application is approved. Second application from Calvary, that's different, that's okay. So
Oh, Nathan, you need to unmute, I think you need to unmute Mike Seelman.
He should be able to unmute himself, but I can go
He says
ahead.
he can't hear.
If he can't hear, that's not something I can affect. If he can't talk, I can help with that.
Okay, I'm gonna call him.
is Mount Calvary, the Gunnison Fund application different from the?
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's see if this works.
Hello?
Hey, all right, I'll turn this all the way up because you're all the way down here. It's gonna be loud for you, sorry.
That's fine.
All right, Mike, we're up to Mount Calvary.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Unless you're still talking, we're ready for you to present Mount Calvary.
Okay, I'm sorry about the technical issue here. Mount Calvary Cemetery is a large full-service cemetery in the town of Cheektowaga, Erie County. They submitted an application for the repair of 19 hazardous monuments. Michael Katina originally went out and inspected those monuments and found that they all did appear to pose a hazard. The most recent of those monuments is dated 1927. The cemetery stated that they don't have contact information for those particular lot owners in that time period. So they put an ad in the Bee newspaper, and they received no response. So it's our understanding that they have determined that the lot owners cannot be located. The cemetery provided repair estimates from Western New York Cemetery Services for $19,920 and Leon Com for $25,180 to reset all 19 of these monuments on traditional concrete foundations to a depth of 42 inches. Western New York provided a 20-year warranty, and Leon Com provides a 10-year warranty. The cemetery also provided estimates to replace the foundations themselves using traditional concrete methods for $7,845 and with the use of MonuGrid for $3,517. And then they would have the monuments reset on those new foundations by Leon Com for $12,600. So the total would be $20,445 for the traditional repair and $16,117 for the MonuGrid repair. Mount Calvary has stated that they will provide a 20-year warranty on the MonuGrid foundations. The little background on the MonuGrid, the MonuGrid estimate averages $848 per stone, and the lowest of the traditional concrete foundations estimate averages $1,002 per stone. Mount Calvary has requested that the MonuGrid method be approved. It should be noted that the method uses a plastic form and crushed stone to provide a 10 to 12 inch deep floating foundation versus the traditional concrete foundation at 42 inches that we generally see. This is the first application that we have received for using the MonuGrid method. The cemetery is up to date on annual reports. We recommend approval of the lower amount of $16,287.66. And this recommendation is based on the cemetery's 20-year warranty and the cemetery's unique ability to monitor these foundations and make repairs themselves if necessary.
Okay, so there's a conversation to be had about using MonuGrid, and is there some background that's going to be presented to us?
I mean, I guess, Mike, you could probably elaborate a little more on Monument Grid. I just want to talk about, Rob, jump in if I say anything wrong, as to how we ended up where we ended up. Generally speaking, the board, we have asked for applications that the applicant promise that the foundation be at least 42 inches deep. That's designed, calculated to, it's not precise, calculated to make sure the foundation goes below the frost line. And we've also asked for a 10-year warranty from the monument dealer or person doing the work on that. Those aren't necessarily hard or fast rules. They're general standards that we ask people to meet, because we're not going to go and pay for the same. If we've paid to repair a foundation, A, we want to make sure that it stays repaired, and B, we're not going to pay for it, but we're not going to recommend approving paying for it twice. In this case, I'll let Mike say more about the technical aspects of Monument Grid if anybody's interested. In this case, these types of monuments, there are certain, Mike, you can elaborate, there's certain types of monuments where we question whether Monument Grid would work as well. In this case, Monument Grid has not been around for that long, has not been around for 20 years. I want to say it's maybe 12 years old, as a technology. So we can't say that it's going to last 50 years because nobody's ever seen it. But conceptually, for the types of monuments they're talking about, it should hold them. There are places that have been setting monuments like this using Monument Grid, not with our monument, just in general. And in those cases, it seems to be holding up okay. Mike, I don't know if you want to elaborate a little bit on the technical specifications, because it's a totally different system.
Yes, the traditional 42-inch concrete foundation is similar to what you would see in like a building code. If you're building a building or setting a foundation for something, the idea is to have a large mass, which would be the concrete, that's down below the frost level, so it's not affected by frost. From what I've read, it's been explained about Monument Grid, it's a floating system that actually sits in the top layer of soil. And when the ground freezes, everything is allowed to move with the frost. And then when the frost goes out, everything is allowed to resettle. The benefit, as explained, is that if the monument does tip, it's easier to repair that small, 12-inch gravel foundation than it would be to tear out a 42-inch concrete foundation. Because, like Louis said, this is a new thing, we have some questions about this, if that makes sense to install something that's easier to repair versus something that we have a pretty good track record that it shouldn't move if installed properly with the concrete. And then the secondary issue that Louis had brought up was when we're checking monuments for hazard, we check for several ways. We look at if they're tipping, if they're undermined, if the foundations appear to be destabilized, and also if they're loose. And if you place your hand on top of a monument and you just provide a very little bit of pressure back and forth, will it move? And one of the big concerns with the Monument Grid is when they install the concrete foundation, they're adhering the monument to the surface of the concrete foundation. So it does not move at all. There's no movement whatsoever. So when the work is done and we check them, that's one of the things we check. There's no movement, and we check it off that it appears to be a state monument or does not appear to be hazardous. With the Monument Grid, you do not have the ability to adhere the stone to this plastic grid system that's holding the gravel. So with some smaller, lighter weight monuments, I would not recommend the use of the Monument Grid because there won't be enough weight to hold them still, and there will be movement. If someone bumps into the stone, it's going to move. With these monuments listed, these are all large monuments. They're heavy monuments. And as described, these monuments are going to more or less settle in to the top of the Monument Grid and to the gravel, and there should not be any movement. And in part, that's because of the type of stone that these are, and that's why we're willing to approve them in this specific application.
The other thing I'll add to that is that Mount Calvary is quite financially stable, so if they say we ourselves are gonna warrant these monuments and repair them at no cost to anyone, if they become hazardous again for a certain period of time, we are pretty confident that they have the resources to stand behind that guarantee, which, by the way, is something we don't really have with monument dealers. We don't have a set, we can't ensure that they're gonna be in business. Because, you know, if the cemetery sort of did not have the resources to do that, I might think twice about a system that does require frequent adjustments. One other thing I'll add is there are certain requirements for using MonuGrid, which they say they're going to meet here. You have to be setting it on competent soil. You have to be using a particular type of stone as your base and in the grid. If anybody's curious, if you remember those crates that soda bottles come in with the individual things, MonuGrid looks like that, except it's only about 3 inches thick. You've probably seen it walking on paths somewhere. They use it as most commonly used, I think, as a bed for paths and even roads. And with paths, there tends to be less soil over the top, so you can sometimes actually see the MonuGrid peeking up through where people are treading. The adjustments they're talking about, that if the monument gets a little bit off kilter, is literally you stick a crowbar under one end of the MonuGrid, and you give it a little twist, a little push, and you do that from each side until it's level. You put a level line and do it from each side until it's level. It's something that someone without equipment or even a ton of technical skill is able to do. So again, we're not contracting with MonuGrid. We're not contracting with these other guys. We're just paying the cemeteries money to repair these things. But all this background is because the board obviously should be concerned about, if we're going to pay to fix something, let's make sure it stays fixed.
Well, you know what they say, I'm not an engineer, but I play one on TV.
Pretty much.
So I don't really have a technical way of evaluating that. Is there anybody else that wants to speak to this issue from the cemetery or anywhere else?
You will have to use the function to raise your hand or post in the chat in order to be unmuted during this meeting. Oh, all right. I see Sandra. Oh, Sakara. Sorry, I misread. You should be able to unmute yourself now.
Introduce yourself and we'd love to hear you.
Maybe it was a incorrect hand raise.
Okay.
If I could, Mr. Chairman. Nobody else is going.
Well, while we're waiting to see if there's anybody else online, I'll recognize Mr. Fleming.
Yes, David Fleming representing Mount Calvary. Just briefly on some of the information that was shared. I had the opportunity to serve on the board, it's an international board of the Association of Gravestone Studies on the Conservation Committee. And there have been significant advances in the last few years in conservation techniques for cemeteries, for monuments, and in particular, a concern in historic cemeteries and cemeteries with tight areas and older sections. There's a concern with the significant amount of excavation necessary for a 42-inch monument. And in fact, the MonuGrid system is quite similar to a system that was installed 200 years ago. And it is a floating base for the monuments. It allows for, while the word plastic was used, it's not essentially a plastic. It's a resin-based material that provides significant stability. It's UV protected. It allows for the flow of water and moving of ice through the system, as Mr. Polish pointed out, so that it does rise and fall with the system, with the seasons. And I think most importantly, while the cemetery understands that the cemetery board is not endorsing a particular product, Mount Calvary certainly has the opportunity and wherewithal to adjust any of these monuments that are used, have these foundations and are utilized that way, that are being utilized across the state already in cemeteries where these applications are not submitted yet. This is obviously the first one. So I think with regard to the anticipated motion on the approval of the amount, I think
The board should have a confidence that this is a cemetery that has an excellent track record to be able to produce these repairs. And frankly, I think you're going to see more in different applications that are not just 42-inch monuments because of historic sections and cemeteries where people are going to be looking to dealing with monuments that are historic and may not necessarily, it wouldn't be the appropriate conservation technique to put them in a 42-inch foundation.
We have either right before I started or right after I started, we have in fact approved what Mr. Fleming, something like what Mr. Fleming was alluding to, a blue stone foundation for monuments. I forget where it was, cemetery in Boone County. My recollection was that they did, it's the same concept that this stone allows for drainage of water, but still allows the monument to essentially sink into it.
Anybody else wishing to address this matter?
Sagara Or still has their hand raised, but it appears as though the device they're calling in on does not have a microphone functionality. At best, for them to try to resolve this, but yeah, I don't see the option to unmute them. It doesn't seem as though they have a microphone attached. So I recommend just moving on. If you are able to call in with a different device or maybe change the setting to allow it to access your microphone, then we're more than happy to hear from you later on in the meeting.
Turn to the board. If the board have any questions or issues they'd like to raise? Jill, would you like to, anything you think we need to think about?
Wait, we're not getting audio from you, Joe.
He's unmuted.
You're unmuted, but we can't hear you. This is really weird. Nathan, is this something you need to do?
I don't think so.
It's because we called Mike.
It shouldn't be. This is through the phone. Mike, I don't, just in case this is the phone interfering, I don't know why, what am I hanging up on you? If I can call you back on my cell phone.
Hey, Jessica Rosario, just to make sure it's not something that's going wrong on my side, would you mind unmuting and saying 2 words?
I was suggesting maybe raising the volume. I could hear Jill very faintly. So I'm thinking maybe the volume.
Okay. Well, thank you for helping me troubleshoot and confirming that it's not a setting on my side. I'm not sure why we're not able to hear Jill. I'm sorry.
We heard you before.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, there you go. I was going to say, I don't have any questions. I similarly don't think I have the technical expertise to analyze whether that technology is appropriate. It sounds as though it is. And if nobody has concerns and we haven't heard, and I guess this is a question, if we haven't heard that it's been problematic in other applications, I don't have any concerns about approving the issuing the order.
I second.
Okay, maybe from my point of view, kind of is why wouldn't we do it? I mean, we're not any more knowledgeable about concrete foundations other than due to time and experience. And I don't necessarily think that's, we could probably go to our code division or something and talk to them about it, but we do have a guarantee and the cemetery is in good financial shape, so I don't know that there's any reason we wouldn't, and we're certainly not there to protect or discourage emerging technologies. So I'll make a motion that we approve the application, period, but with the subtext that it includes the use of the MonuGrid technology and acknowledges the cemetery's 20-year warranty. Anything else I should add to that, Council? Can I get a second? Second? Any other discussion? All right, all in favor? Aye. Application from Mount Calvary is approved. Next is application from Pompey Hill or Pompey Hill.
I gotta call Mike back, sorry.
All right. While your Mike's listening, while we're preparing.
No, I'm not sure he can hear us either. I think he's got an audio. So.
And then all cylinders.
Hello.
Hey, we're up to Pompey Hill.
All right, we're Pompey Hill, Onondaga County, 70 stones in the amount of $119,196.24. Mike, do you want to present the application?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Poppy Hill Cemetery. It's a small rural cemetery located in the town of Pompey in Onondaga County. They submitted an application for the repair of 70 hazardous monuments. The investigator, Corey Moore, was the investigator that visited the cemetery and confirmed that all 70 monuments appeared to pose a hazard. The most recent of those monuments is dated 1938. And the cemetery stated that they do not have lot owner information for those monuments, for those lots from that time period. So they ran an ad in the Post Standard Syracuse newspaper once a week for 3 weeks, and they received no response from that ad. So it's the division's understanding that the cemetery has determined that the lot owners cannot be located. The cemetery provided repair estimates from 2 contractors, Barnett Memorials and Northeast Cemetery Services, to reset the 70 monuments on concrete foundations to a depth of 42 inches. Both contractors provide a 10-year warranty. The Barnett Memorial estimate was for $119,097. That's an average of $1,701 per monument. And Northeast Cemetery Services estimate was for $124,900, averaging $1,784 per monument. The cemetery is up to date on their annual reports and vandalism payments, and we recommend approval in the amount of $119,196.24. That's for the lower bid and the news notice that was run.
Thank you, Mike. Anybody have any questions of council? Council, have anything to add? The board members have any questions of the application? I'll make a motion to approve the application of Pompey Hill in Onondaga County in the amount of $119,196.24, subject to availability of funds. If I didn't say it at the last one,
Oh, you didn't for Monument Grade.
Mount Calvary, I'll amend that motion to also say, subject to the availability of funds. Do I have a second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Application is approved.
All right, at this time, I'm gonna go ahead and try to unmute Sagara again. I believe that everything should be resolved.
All right.
You should be able to address the board now.
She's just about the application?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hi, I apologize for that. I've been having technical difficulties with my laptop, my work phone, so now I'm on my personal cell. Hi, my name is Sagara Orr. While you're on the subject of vandalisms and things of that nature, and you said something about an application, I was just wondering, how do I go about, because I live in Syracuse, New York, and my brother's grave site has been vandalized as well, and it's been an ongoing issue. And I didn't know, how do we go about filing an application? Is that something the cemetery does, or do the family do it? I'm, like I said, Oakwood Cemetery in Syracuse, New York, Onondaga County. I'm just trying to get more information on how do we go about things.
Okay.
The cemetery is the only one who can file for funds for, to restore vandalized, headstones.
But we would like to help you if you call or
Yes.
email the
Because-
office.
Yes,
This is not, right now, we're dealing with specific applications. So this, and it normally would be asked under, public comment, but I'm glad to take your comment now that you're looking for some help.
Oh, I'm
And
so
again,
sorry. I
you're good.
apologize.
we're-
I apologize. Yes, because we
you're
did
doing
try the
great.
cemetery. We didn't get anywhere. He told us, there's nothing they can do about it. So we knew that, it had to be something, but he was adamant there's nothing he couldn't help. He wasn't trying to be helpful. So
You
I do
have-
apologize for interrupting you guys.
Okay. All right,
No need.
thank you. We'll be in touch and we'll see if we can help you out.
If anything else comes up later on, that you do want to address, again, you're more than welcome to, ask me unmuted again, and we're happy to hear from you.
Thank you. Right, so we're moving on to Howard Cemetery in Steuben County. The applications for the amount of $48,840.39. Do we have a presentation?
Good morning, everyone. I'm Investigator Jessica Rosario out of Steuben County. I am going to present the Howard Cemetery request. Howard Cemetery number 51031 is a small rural cemetery in the town of Howard, Steuben County. But before I continue, can everyone hear me?
Yep. Yes.
Okay. I didn't want to continue and then get through the whole thing and find out that nobody heard me. Anyway, thank you. Howard Cemetery submitted an application for repair of 28 hazardous monuments. On March 19th, 2025, I visited the cemetery and confirmed that all 28 monuments appear to pose a hazard. Of those identified monuments, the oldest is dated 1825 and the most recent is dated 2011. And the cemetery has stated that they do not have lot owner records at this time. Howard Cemetery ran a legal notice once a week for 3 weeks in publication known as Shopper South Tier, cost of $453.93. They received no response. It is our understanding that the cemetery has determined that lot owners cannot be located. The cemetery provided 2 repair estimates, one from DC Masonry repair estimate for $46,387, averaging approximately $1,657.67 per monument. Second repair estimate from Hills Monuments for $47,312, which averaged to $1,689.71 per monument. This estimate is to reset the 28 monuments on concrete foundations. Both contractors will provide foundations of a depth of 42 inches and include a warranty of 15 years. The lower estimate averages $1,656.57 per stone. The Howard Cemetery is up to date on vandalism payments and annual reports. It is my recommendation that we approve, that Howard Cemetery be approved the amount of $48,840.39 in their application for hazardous repair monument.
Thank you. Counselor?
Nothing from council.
Okay, anybody have any questions of the presentation? I'll make a motion to approve the application of Howard Cemetery in Steuben County for vandalism fund in the amount of $48,840.39. Second? Second? All in favor? All right.
Thank you all.
Case is approved. Subject to the availability of funds, if I didn't say it. Greenmount Cemetery is the last in Washington County, the amount of $80,158.14.
That would be Mike Stillman, that's me. Greenmount Cemetery is a small rural cemetery in the village and town of Whitehall in Washington County. They submitted an application for the repair of 59 hazardous monuments. Leonard Breen was the investigator that visited the cemetery and confirmed that all 59 monuments appeared to pose a hazard. The most recent of those monuments is dated 1971. And the cemetery stated that they do not have lot owner records for that specific time period. They ran a legal notice once a week for 3 weeks in the Whitehall Times, and they received no response. So it's the division's understanding that the cemetery has determined that the lot owners cannot be located. The cemetery provided repair estimates from 2 contractors, Buxton Property Services and North Country Construction, to remove and reset all 59 monuments on concrete foundations poured to a depth of 42 inches. Both contractors provided 10-year warranty. The Buxton Property Services estimate is the lowest at $79,845, averaging $1,353 per stone. And North Country Construction's estimate was $87,479, averaging $1,483 per stone. Greenmount Cemetery is up to date on their vandalism payments and annual report, and we recommend approval in the amount of $80,158.04.
Just to make a global point here, when Mike's giving the bids, those are always gonna be slightly less, or almost always gonna be slightly less than the amount we're asking for, because the amounts that we're requesting includes the cost of giving the legal notice.
Good, thank you for making sure it was reminded about that. Council? Boring. Anyway, any questions from the board members? All right, then I'll make a motion to approve the application of Greenmount Cemetery in Washington County in the amount of $80,158.14. Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Applicants approved. That completes our review of our vandalism fund applications. We have two more other orders of business. Mount Calvary Cemetery in Erie County on the issue of a columbarium and PM loan.
Michael,
This
you
is,
can do it.
This is Michael Katina at the Division of Cemeteries, Buffalo office. Mount Calvary Cemetery Association is a large full-service cemetery located in the town of Cheektowaga, Erie County. They have applied for approval to install a pre-built 1,742 niche public columbarium in the area behind St. Anthony's, their St. Anthony section, and in front of Section 5, located by the clock tower. The cemetery currently has 7 columbarium units with a total of 1,472 niches, of which 362 remain in inventory. The total cost of the project is not expected to exceed $2.2 million. They hope to pay for this by a PM loan pending approval of the state Supreme Court. The cost of the project is expected to be recouped by niche sales, and they estimate they'll sell 60 of those a year. And then net return on investment is calculated to be $978,019.20 over the next 29 years, sorry. The cemetery posted construction notices and received no comments regarding the project. The division inspected the area. It seems suitable and will not interfere with any other, any existing graves. The cemetery board feels that it needs to obtain the states that they need to obtain a building permit from the town of Cheektowaga and other local advisory board approval. Should comments from these boards change the columbarium project or any aspect of the application, those changes would be subject to further cemetery board review, and cemetery would seek additional approval from the division. The structure will be less than 4,000 square feet, and the division believes this is a type 2 action under CEQA. The Cemetery Association has provided all necessary documentations, both financial and operational. Assessments indicate this will be a positive project. The previous columbarium have been very successful, and they have a few available niches remaining. The rate of cremation continues to climb throughout the state, and that will likely add to the success of this unit. For these reasons, we recommend that the board adopt 2 resolutions as follows. Columbarium approving the application as submitted in a cost not to exceed $2.2 million, subject to Supreme Court approval of the association's petition for approval of a PM loan and all required local permits. On the PM loan, recommending that the Supreme Court Erie County approve the requested PM loan in the amount on the terms described in the accompanying draft position. And I believe Charles will present the PM loan.
Charles, present the PM.
Yeah, Charles, do you have anything to add on the PM loan?
No, I think
I mean,
I heard him.
Good answer.
he said no. I mean, broadly speaking, the PM loan is, they're proposing, to pay themselves back, at, oh, wait a second. The rate of 2%, they're trying to remember what the term, Dave, do you know how long it was to pay it back in? I want to say, is it 8 years or is that the other one?
9 years.
Wait a second. Sorry, this is what technically complicated because break it up to,
8 years. Oh, yeah, they're not
Yeah.
California. Yeah, let's get you.
yeah, so it's an 8-year payback. The only other thing I'll add is that they did post I think Mike mentioned they posted the requisite signs, about the project. They received no comments.
He said that. So two resolutions. One is regarding the petition to the Supreme Court,
Right.
and we
That's just
recommend,
a recommendation,
we
right?
make a recommendation that the Supreme Court approve the application, and that our approval is subject to positive or the obtaining of other local building permits and other requirements. Is that good?
You want to go or?
You say whatever. I got one thing to add on, Steve.
Why don't you
That's the only thing I.
No,
Okay.
Steve is next, right?
No, we don't have to. That's why I'm saying let him have his thing first.
All right.
So, in reviewing the application, and follow up with the applicant, the understanding from the applicant is that, there's not going to be a change in zoning or use variance is not going to be required. So that forms the basis in part of determining that this is a type 2 for the purposes of seeker. If, in the course of getting approvals, those aspects change, then we would have to bring this back and revisit it.
Okay. We don't have to say anything about those type 2, so we're good.
Based upon our understanding, this is
Okay.
a type 2 action.
Okay. So we have one,
Which one do you want to do first?
what are the two? Just, am I separating the approvals?
Recommendation, Supreme Court on the PM
Yeah.
loan and approving the columbarium.
Okay, so I'll make the first, any other questions from the board? Or doing okay? I'll make a motion to approve the application for the to the Supreme Court.
Right,
Recommendation of the
Supreme
court approve the application of Mount Calvary.
Yeah, in the amount and on the terms presented in the draft petition.
There you go, as he said. Any other comments? Second? Second? All in favor? Aye. We made the recommendation. Thank you, Joe. Second one is that we approve the actual application,
Correct.
and it is subject to
And then
getting
not,
all,
not to exceed 2 million, so 2.2 million, sorry, subject to Supreme Court approval of the PM loan and subject to all required local permits.
Okay.
Subject to the cemetery obtaining all required local permits, sorry.
any other comments, questions? I'll make that motion. Second? All in favor? Aye. The application is also approved. Last on our list is Wildwick Rural Cemetery in Ulster County, a major alteration in PM loan.
So I'll do this one. The agenda is slightly incorrect in this regard, as I wrote it, it's my fault. Wildwick has to replace the roof on one of its buildings and has to do that kind of before the winter sets in. They submitted a per our instructions, they submitted a major alteration application. We reviewed that application and concluded on the facts presented that this isn't in fact a major alteration. Does not require the board's approval of major alteration, it's just a repair. For similar reasons, we believe the action is type 2 under seeker because we're just repairing an existing structure and it doesn't require all that stuff that.
Also, if we're not approving a major alteration application,
We're not actually making, right, so all that's left is to make a recommendation on a PM application. I guess one could have an interesting angels dancing in the head of a pin conversation about whether recommendations and approval or not. But we're, all that's left for the board to do, and let me pull up the exact terms, is to recommend Supreme Court approval of the PM loan. We left the entire major alteration packet in, because we generally, anything an applicant puts before the board, we generally share it with you. And also because it does give background as to what this project is and why they need to do it. The total amount of the loan is $95,000. They're proposing to pay themselves back at 6% over a 10-year period. Just note in passing that these are two applications before us at the same time, very different rates of return. One difference between the two applications is that Mount Calvary is going to make money on it, and the money they make will generate an allocation of 10% plus $35 per opening to its permanent maintenance fund. The Wiltworth project will not generate any revenue, although it will save them the cost of having a roof fail. So the 2% kind of underestimates what they're actually going to make at their PM to make up for the lost income on the project. We haven't tried with clinical precision to figure out exactly the amount of lost income revenue that they're going to put back in, all the factors that can go into that. It's just because the numbers are so different. These are two very different kinds of applications.
Okay. So the
The motion is to recommend that the board approve Supreme Court, recommend the Supreme Court approve the PM loan on the terms, in the amount and on the terms presented in the draft petition.
Okay. Any questions, council?
Nothing to add.
All right. Any questions from the board? I'll make that motion. Second. All in favor? Aye. Motion or application such as it is, or recommendation such as it is, petition such as it is approved.
The motion to make the recommendation is approved.
Okay, good. That ends our,
We have one more.
I have one more addition.
oh, yes, there you go. I forgot, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Apologies for the late last minute addition. Generally speaking, this is going to be a request to the cemetery board to order the division to require a crematory to submit a verified report. Now, by way of background. So, Chapter 513 of the laws of 2024 is now in effect. Generally speaking, the law amends Section 14 of Chapter 560 of the laws of 1998. That's commonly referred to by us as the grandfather clause of the anti-combination law. And the recent law states that grandfather does not apply to, quote, a crematory or crematorium operated by a funeral entity in the town of Tonawanda that has been subject to a consent order issued by the Department of Environmental Conservation, end quote. So prior to passage of that law, Sheridan Park operated as a grandfathered crematory. As a result of the law now being in effect, the division and I are seeking a board resolution to require Sheridan Park to send a verified report detailing its compliance with the anti-combination law. I will pause here for any questions. I'll remind the board that we can move into an exempt session to receive advice of counsel if you wish. But I wanted to pause here before suggesting a proposed resolution.
This would be an appropriate time for anyone from the public if they needed to address this. Doesn't look like there is anyone. Oh. Well, happy to hear from you again. Absolutely. All right, you should be unmuted now.
Can you guys hear me? So wait, is it time for the public or no? Sorry.
Almost. This is a public comment on a specific issue, which is the Sheridan Park Crematory. So if by coincidence that's what you're calling about, absolutely. But if not, give us 2 more minutes. I'm so sorry.
I totally apologize. My phone's going in and out. My service at work. I didn't hear it. Okay, thank you. Sorry.
That's totally valid.
Okay. Jill, do you have any questions or comments? Okay.
I don't, no, not.
Okay.
No questions.
All right. Then I'll make a motion to,
If you allow me.
yes,
To propose.
much appreciated.
So I would recommend that the cemetery board resolve to direct Sheridan Park and its officers to send a verified report pursuant to not-for-profit corporation law section 1508B, detailing whether it is in operation, and if so, describe in detail whether it is in compliance with the anti-combination law, including Sheridan Park's affiliations and business relationships, if any, with Amagon Funeral Home, along with supporting documentation sufficient to demonstrate compliance, and to direct the division to send such request for a verified report.
Great. Any other questions? So I'll make that motion as read into the record. Second,
Second.
all in favor? Aye. We have resolved to direct the division. That's the end of our business.
Now you want to take public comment.
We have an opportunity for public comment. Is there anybody online that'd like to address the board on issues? 1 second, let me go online. Anybody online who'd like to address the board on issues before us?
Thank you for your patience.
Okay, yes, I tell again, guys, I'm new to this and I'm just trying to, get some advice on how to go about things. Again, like I said, my name is Segura Orr. I just wanted to know, when it comes to you guys' cemetery, is there funding for all cemeteries in New York State when it comes to vandalism? Or is that just at certain cemeteries? That's my first question.
I think if you ask the question, is it for only regulated cemeteries? Not for profit cemeteries, which is our purview, not religious, not private. That's the case, that there's a vandalism fund has been established in the amount of $2 million with certain requirements for regulated cemeteries. We don't work with town cemeteries or municipal cemeteries or private cemeteries or religious cemeteries.
And to be clear, Oakwood Cemetery is not a regulated cemetery, correct?
I don't, which Oakwood are you talking about?
Oakwood in Syracuse is a regulated
Yes.
cemetery.
Yeah, they're under interest.
Okay, so they do have funding for these,
It's
this
not that they
situation.
have funding. They are able to request funding for vandalism repair or dangerous monuments or abandonment.
Gotcha. Okay, and so because I was told we did reach out to the main office at Oakwood Cemetery, and they were saying like they're not for profit, so there's nothing they can do about the situation at hand. Also, do we know is there any funding or any way they can, well, sorry, I'm a little nervous, I apologize. My question is about like security things. Has there ever been any thought of securing like these cemeteries, like closing the gate, locking the gate after a certain hour, or maybe even do surveillance, at the gates possibly, if they can't, of course, not go around the whole cemetery, just to keep track of who's coming in and coming out. Would that be a possibility that maybe can be pushed to happen, or like like I said, I'm just trying to get questions out.
Yeah, go ahead. Louis can.
So the statute we're talking about specifically makes funds available for the restoration of monuments that are damaged or defaced by an act of vandalism. That's the language of the statute. What falls under that in the first instance, we'd have to have an application from a cemetery, and then we could consider that. If you have a complaint that you believe that Oakwood is somehow not complying with the law and anything it's doing, we do have a complaint form on our website. You'd be welcome to submit that to us.
Yes, can I have the website link, please? May I have the website information? Yeah.
Our website is D as in David, O as in Oscar, S as in Sam, .ny.gov/cemeteries. Once you're on there, if you search for the word complaint, you'll find the complaint form.
Thank you for that. Like I said, I was just trying to get some type of information. My mom did speak with, I think Mike there? I believe it's
Yeah,
the
Mike's
same.
Mike's on the phone.
All right, yes, okay, so yeah, I know she was talking to Mike, but she didn't get back to him, so I was told to join this to see about, asking whatever questions I did, so. But for the most part, you guys did answer those for me. You told me they are regulated. Yeah, because like I said, we did reach out to the main office. He's not being helpful. This been going on since my brother was buried in 2022. The police haven't tried to do anything, and we're at our wits' end. We're just trying to figure out, like, how can we try to prevent these things from happening, or, where do we go from here? Be hold accountable, So I definitely appreciate you guys, and thank you for your time for answering my questions.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else wishing to address the board who's online? Anybody in the room wishing to address the board? Yes, sir.
Hi, my name is Mark Ronich. I live in Belmont. In Schenectady or the town of Rotterdam, you just mentioned the religious cemetery. The Congregation Beth Israel is part of a complex of 5 religious Jewish cemeteries, and they were vandalized. So I was wondering, since you don't handle those types of applications, where do I go and have any ideas for me, or I just heard about these grants now, so.
Yeah, I don't really know the answer. I'm not sure we're competent to do that. We know what our cemeteries are.
So is this,
There's no public.
so this should go through the legislature during the budget as
I,
what used to be called member items, that aren't called member items?
or if they can fund a religious entity.
Well, they would, yeah, the state legislature.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
So that they can.
That would be the best.
I'm not advising you with that.
Okay.
That sounds like give it a shot. kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
All right. Sorry for the.
I didn't know you didn't do religious cemeteries.
Yeah, so-
I guess I should add that I actually went out to is it Schenectady or Rotterdam? It's kind of on the border.
Yeah.
Shortly after the incident, I confirmed that all of the stones that were down were in religious cemeteries. This is a tiny little regulated cemetery. It's stuck in between religious ones.
Thank you for going out there.
We did go. We actually met with federations as well.
Okay.
Didn't have any answers for you. I'd be happy to give them.
No, I appreciate you taking the impetus to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other people wish to address the board? If not, our next cemetery board meeting is scheduled for October 16th at 12 o'clock.
Yeah, we didn't have a room. Either somebody had I think the issue is we couldn't get a room until 12.
What was that date again?
The 16th,
Thursday, October 16th.
Thursday, October 16th. That's not on our regular time.
Yeah,
At 12 o'clock.
I have a conflict with Tuesday. That
And
week.
we do everything we can to work around your
And the
schedule.
next month is also not going to be at our regular time because of Veterans Day. And the next month is not going to be at our regular time because we didn't get a room. So it's just going to be chaos until January.
We hold you accountable.
Chaos is a relative term.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so there being no other business, no other comments, I'll make a motion to adjourn this meeting of the New York State Cemetery Board. Is there a second? Second. And all in favor, aye. And thank you all for coming in on a Friday morning.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.